Good morning, traders. Just a quick end of the week update. What we're looking at is the Bitcoin chart. As you can see, we were looking to short about these levels. Reason being is because we had this dip into the FOMC as we expected, as traders kind of unwound their trades. And then we had a little pop up. Again, it's kind of floating around these support or these resistance levels. You can see we've drawn out resistance right there. And what you'll notice is that on the daily, we have a lot of these false breakouts. These not really breakouts as such, but they're trying to wick above this resistance and they're pulling back. We have not had a close above this 117,200. So what we did, we obviously took our short, the short position that I sent out earlier in the week, and we took this down, kind of wicked down a little bit going to the FOMC. So let me go back to the 30, and you can see here we have this line that came up like this. Now, what happened was when it wicked down here, I kind of closed half of that short position that we took up here. Reason being is because it didn't have that follow through that we were expecting. And then we had this kind of rise coming up. So I didn't close it out completely, but I did close half the position just to take a little bit of profit, and it went up again. So we're still in our short position, and we are looking for it to go a little bit lower. Now, there's one of two things that can happen, right? If we go through this level, if we go through this descending line here, descending resistance, then we're going to be cutting this position and looking for an up move. But at this point, we probably want to roll over into the altcoins. Now, equally, we could still have this flush down to, could have this go down to there, and then we could bounce up again. That is the preferred path, because then we get a nice entry round about these levels. It is worth mentioning that if we kind of step out now, as you're aware from the previous videos, this is the timing band. We expected a little bit of a sell-off. Now, for this sell-off to go into this timing band and still stay in an uptrend, we probably need to get up to about here, because then we can still have our flush, but we're not breaking these levels. If we go flush down now, okay, for us to get the timing band from these levels, we will need to break this ascending support line, right? Which basically says at that point that we're probably going to trend sideways while money rolls over into altcoins. Now, speaking about altcoins, they are looking very good. We're having a little bit of we had a pop up above these lines, these resistance levels. They're just staying above there. We are looking for something like that on maybe Solana. XRP is also at a certain level where we're looking where you got this ascending support, descending. Sorry, let me just get rid of this. These descending resistance. And what we can have is a little bit of a little down and then pop its head up, boom, and then boom. Now, it's worth mentioning that Solana, XRP, these are your higher cap altcoins. It's going to require far more capital inflows to get higher. And that's why it's not such a bad idea to look at the lower cap coins, right? Well, not lower cap, you don't want to go too high risk, but looking at the median caps, and it's around about, say, 500 million up to about $1 billion. If you got some good projects that are around the $500 million mark, well, then that's a bit of a sweet spot. If you want to go lower than that, yeah, you're going to have more upside, but you might have to wait a little bit longer for a cash to flow into those lower cap coins. But as you can see, we're getting a little bit of a pullback. Let's go down to 30 again. Yeah, there was a nice little pop up there. I mean, that was a nice little move going off those levels, 8%. I'm not going to whip out the champagne just yet, but the thing is that it is pulling back a little bit. Radium, this is the one that I'm pretty keen on, as the reason being is because it's so close to these levels. I mean, if we go into the 4 hour, you can see these rising supports going up like that, and you got this horizontal support line as well. It's kind of making its way, bouncing off these levels, and it's, in my view, I think it's just getting ready to go like this, going boom, maybe just a little bit of a break below there. You see those levels there, those little wicks, it might go down to there, wick down, and then boom. Okay, and as soon as it breaks that line, well, then we have a situation like drift. Okay, and now this is drift. Now you may remember when I was speaking about this earlier in the week, and I was explaining these triangles and how they work. So you obviously get the buy, hit this level, you get the bears come in, they push the price down to about that level, and then the bulls come in, push it up to there. We hit our head on this resistance again, down to support. But when it comes down to the support, you're now higher, so you're kind of eating away at the bears a little bit until you get to that level. Now, I was hoping it would go down to here or here. And I would have entered this position there, but instead it kind of popped its head, looking very strong. So now that it's gone up here, broken above this level, we are waiting for a pullback down to here or here. It's probably going to hit bounce off this level now, because there was a very strong resistance, turn support, and then it will go up there. I am expecting at these levels, let's go down or up to the daily, get rid of that. You'll notice that it's run about $1. On the double zeros, you normally have a cluster of the bids and offers around these areas, and because of that, this is where you'll have your little battles between, are we breaking higher or not? You can see we've got this line over here that is parallel to our support, so this could be a potential channel or not. We may even end up with something that looks more like this. Again, don't take my word for it, but it could be something like this. You go over there, and you bring this like that, and that pitchfork could show the potential trajectory that we're going up. But for now, let's not worry about that. We are going to wait for a pullback down to these levels to go long. Again, with Bitcoin, it could drop down, it could go up. I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback, but even if this goes sideways, it just means that money's going to flow into drift. So very bullish on drift. Sui's also looking pretty big, pretty good, but again, it's let me get rid of these. So you're just playing around a little bit. You are looking at higher market caps, so it's going to take quite a bit to move these higher. I mean, when you start hitting 10, 20 billion dollar market caps, you need about $20 billion worth of net inflows in order to get the price up to a 2x. And that's a lot of capital. If you're looking at something like drift, it's only about 300 million. So for that to get up to, say, 3 billion, it's not a long shot, and you can get a 10x out of that. If Bitcoin did a 10x from these levels, I mean, now you're looking at obscene amounts of money. This is, for that to happen, you will absolutely need Bitcoin adoption on an incredibly large scale. So, which can happen. It is the new digital gold, and we are all very bullish. I think it is solving many problems that are in the economy at the moment. So, I mean, if we look at let's just go through to the S&P 500. I mean, this has just been going up. Now, I don't know if any of you were trading during the 2008 financial crisis, but I can tell you one thing, markets don't always just go up. Not when we got outstanding debt that we have in the US. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of of debt, US debt outstanding. So that debt needs to be serviced. If interest rates go any higher, they just won't be able to afford to pay all that debt, right? Which is, in my opinion, maybe one of the reasons why the interest rates are coming down. Now, when you've got the S&P 500 hitting all-time highs and you're still lowering interest rates, there's something I don't think, I think there's something happening in the marketplace that a lot of people aren't aware of. Back in 2008, when the Fed dropped interest rates, I think it was 200 basis points out of fear, and it was a non-scheduled a drop in interest rates of that magnitude should have sent the markets soaring, but it spooked the markets. Markets got very scared, saying, why are you dropping interest rates 200%? Oh, sorry, 200 basis points. And well, they obviously knew that there was a lot of this toxic subprime assets in the market that was going to cause liquidity issues and a major collapse. And so they tried to get on top of that, but they spooked the markets, and we had a very, very bad day on the financial markets. So when you start pushing all-time highs on the equity markets and you're still lowering interest rates, makes me a little bit suspicious, makes me a little bit cautious. But that being said, when we're looking at Bitcoin, it's still looking good. We've done a 5x. I think we can push out, I think if we extend this up, we could top out around about the 150s, 160s. I don't like to speculate on these things. It's more about, well, when are we going to turn? So you have the 4-year cycles, you have the 220-day cycles that we look at, and then we got the different levels in between. But I try not to pick the actual level it's going up to. It's very difficult, especially when you're hitting all-time highs. I mean, if we're looking at, say, GRT, for example, or Radium, for us to get to all-time highs, I mean, we're way up here. It's just uncharted territory. XRP, let's have a look on the weekly. Have we ever been this high before? We've never been this high before, right? And if we go up, well, how long is a piece of string? That can just keep on going. So this is normally when we're going to use something like a Fibonacci extension, potentially. I mean, even if we took it from here and we look at it there, at a 1.618, we're going up to $6. Okay, that's a 2x from here, which is still pretty big because given that it's got such a high market cap. So that being said, if we're looking at things like Drift, we've got far more upside. I mean, these are looking very good. So I would start looking at picking your favorite projects, the ones that are looking good, the ones that are looking strong. Drift, absolutely. I think that's a fantastic project. Trello, let me see here. You can see you've got some, it's trying to break up to the upside. I remember trading Trello quite a few years ago. So not the newest project, but it still looks good. Over here again, we've got this up. We're on the support, plus we're on this horizontal support as well. So looking kind of strong. We could expect if we had to break up from here above there. I mean, that's a 35% up to your next resistance level, which is pretty good. If we are trading leverage, well, then that could look very good indeed, because if we go in at these levels and we're going down here to get below that level, I mean, we could potentially get in with about a 5x on leverage, because that would mean that our stop would be, our liquidation will be here, which means we can put our stop just underneath that level. We're still well within our, within our margin requirements. And we're still looking at a pretty decent risk reward. We're looking at about a 1 to 3 risk reward, which is still very good. It's above 2. So many different coins to look at the moment. We want to start getting ready to go long on alts, but for now, just waiting for it to Bitcoin to see what it wants to do. Doesn't want to come down, doesn't want to go up, doesn't matter. And quite frankly, our risk reward was so good that it doesn't, we're not going to take too much of a hit here. I mean, our stop loss was at 118,100. So, we're not doing everything just yet, but over here you can see we closed out my original position. I kept on moaning about the entry level was not that great. So I waited for it to just break even, just go above. Only made about 72 cents or something like that. I mean, really, really small amounts. I just wanted to negate that. And then what I did was I sent out that trade alert when I re-entered with a far better risk reward level. And I believe I sent that out on Wednesday. I closed out half of that position, well, 0.2. And I still got 0.002. And now I'm still open 0.003. And waiting for that to fall. So good luck, traders. Have a great weekend. The market should be rather subdued throughout the weekend. They tend to flap sideways and to a little bit to the downside as well. So don't expect too much volatility, and maybe a little bit lower from these levels. And hopefully we can find some good entries next week. All the best. Cheers, bye.